You know, and they're already digging this back up to demonize the renewed patriot movement in this country. We've got a researcher, Kay Beach, is going to talk about the MIAC report and the Department of Homeland Security right-wing extremism lexicon, and how they use the Oklahoma City bombing to demonize the Tea Party. It's like, oh, if you believe in supporting the Constitution and you oppose tyranny, well, you're a McVeigh. You're one of those government haters.
Oh no, they say I'm a McVeigh. Yeah. And boy, I tell you, the Southern Poverty Law Center in that Chris Matthews documentary, they call me by my first name. Oh, Alex. We're not saying he's going to cause violence, but his followers are. So now I guess I've never talked to these people, but they're on a first name basis. That's how much they're, because I know they don't like it that I talk about how they were running Elohim City.
Well, we were doing the 15th anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing press conference. At the same time, there was a Tea Party going on outside in Oklahoma City. And this is at the time that there was a lot of talk about militias again, and nobody was really even talking about it. They were talking about like a volunteer force to take over because all the National Guard's deployed, and we have a lot of natural disaster in Oklahoma, and they wanted to have some volunteers ready to go in and help. And that's all that Charles...
Civil defense.
Right. Yeah, 22 states have.
Charles Key wants a militia to attack the government.
And all of that information that came out was not on the tape. It was not in the interview. The editor took the reporter's story and completely fabricated all this stuff about...
Well, no, that's like Rand Paul. There's like a 2-second delay, and he's like, excuse me, yes, I can hear you. Oh, you agree with getting rid of the Civil Rights Act? No, I don't. And then they ran the headline, he says, get rid of the Civil Rights Act. I mean, these are hoaxers.
Sure.
These are slime bags. These are crooks.
And it makes you wonder what they're cooking up, because in the public mind, they're trying to link patriot movement to militias to violence.
Muslims.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to say that the militias have linked up with Al-Qaeda. Can you believe those dirty American... I mean, yeah, the good old boys are working with Al-Qaeda when that's admitted CIA. I mean, folks, they're getting ready to set you up.
Yep.
The offshore banks know you're awake to what they've done, and they're going to blow stuff up and blame it on you unless we trump them with the info. And let me tell you, this happened 15 years ago. People know about false flag terror now. It has entered the lexicon.
And that's why it's so important for this information to get out now, because, they're using it to demonize the renewed patriot movement in this country.
You guys better hurry. They could stage... more stack attacks, more Oklahoma cities any day.
What we'd like to ask the viewers is to keep an open mind when this movie comes out, and thanks in no small part to you, Alex. I mean, you were definitely the support over the years. You were the inspiration for us to continue on. There were many times that we wanted to set this aside because literally, cognitive and mentally, it was so overwhelming. It was so bad. It was so deep. It was so far down the rabbit hole. But...
well, when you know they're lying about that, then you start, everything's a lie.
Exactly.
Well, and that's why we want to get the truth out. I mean, I believe that bravery is contagious, and I'm a member of We Are Change, and I really take that to heart, that we have to be the change that we want to see in the world. It's an internal process. We can change the outside by changing the inside.
Stay there. Final 5 minutes. Let's talk about that on the other side, because if we don't expose Oklahoma City, we can't expose 9/11. We can't expose the Gulf of Tonkin. We can't expose these false flag events. They're using them to enslave us. We'll be right back. Infowars.com. Holland Vandennieuwenhof is a really interesting fellow who I've interviewed before. We'll have him back on when the film comes out, but he's done deep research, and he's part of the film team. Holland, you've worked on the Oklahoma City connections to Oklahoma. Just real fast, rattle some of those off.
Well, we have a lot of concrete connections. For one, Hussein al-Husseini, who was named as John Doe number 2 by Jana Davis at KFOR TV in Oklahoma, filmed, named specifically by witnesses on the scene as that was the man who was in the truck, Hussein al-Husseini. He later works for Boston's Logan Airport on the day of 9/11. He was a baggage handler. And as I recall, 2 of the hijackers flew out of there, and that's where their luggage went through, and they found the incriminating will and so forth. And then you have like Melvin Lattimore, a man whose original credit cards were used in the first World Trade Center bombing in 1993. He was a known Confederate of Tim McVeigh and friends of Tim McVeigh in 1995 before the bombing. And later on, he was a roommate of the 20th hijacker, the 20th 9/11 hijacker.
And the guy that got his head sawed off, he was at an air base and loaned his laptop to one of the 9/11 people.
He was on a bus in Oklahoma City and loaned his laptop to one of the hijackers who used it to email the 20th.
That's right, a bus.
Actually loaned it to someone, an unknown person who used it to email the 20th hijacker in Minnesota. But this was like in year 2000. I mean, they did have wireless access on buses back then. I don't think they even have it now.
The point is, this is a spy nest.
Yeah. Sure. So, I mean, there was at least one researcher who appeared before the 9/11 Commission to testify that Norman, Oklahoma was home to an Al-Qaeda cell prior to 9/11. Well, no one's ever been prosecuted or arrested in this cell, so obviously what was going on, there may have been some kind of logistics or support cell going on, but there were a lot of things going on, and the only way to view all of these events, World Trade Center 93, Oklahoma City, 9/11, is that they're not isolated. They are connected. They use some of the same people. They use the same SOPs, the same cover-up methods. They disregard the videotapes of the Pentagon. We've never seen a plane crashing into the Pentagon. We've never seen the videotapes of what happened in front of the Murrah building.
They wire a building, fly a plane in, wire a building, bomb a truck.
It's not bad enough that they blow up a truck bomb outside a building or they fly a plane in the building. They got to wire the building with explosives to increase the body count. It's the same SOP. And one of the points about this movie is unless we confront the people who are doing this, bring them to justice, this is going to keep on going. It's going to keep on happening, and each time it's going to get worse.
How did you get involved in this?
I'm from Oklahoma. I started researching the case, and I started doing some research on my own, putting out a hand-printed newsletter that I would hand out, and I met Chris Emery at an event where he's handing out copies of Final Report.
September of 2005.
We started to collaborate. We started collaborating other conferences, truth conferences, low-power FMs, radio shows, and this is just another step in trying to expose the truth. It's been an honor. It's been, this meeting Chris really set me on the path to finding the right thing to do here.
And that's Holland Vandennieuwenhof. Pronounce it right?
Vandennieuwenhof.
Vandennieuwenhof. I always get names wrong here.
It's all right.
Well, it's always good to have you on. I had you on, what, 2-3 years ago?
About 3 or 4 years ago, and when I posted one of my first articles about the connections between 9/11 and...
Yeah, that was a good story.
If I may, if we have a second, I want to give a special mention to Devin Winter, our director of photography and our production coordinator. Devin has actually followed a lot of your work for the last 7-8 years. He came on board with this film and he says, I'm in because I want the truth to come out. And he's actually done a lot of the commercial interviews for the official story. And he says, that doesn't hold water. He says, I want to come on board with you.
That's wonderful. We look forward to interviewing him when the film comes out because if they keep staging these terror attacks and blaming it on the Patriots, we're going to lose this war to defend America and save the Republic. Folks, most terrorism is staged. It's being used to enslave you and your family. Stand up and say no. Thanks for coming in, guys. Good job to the crew today. See you back live tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central. God bless.